Please join us for the pledge.
Good evening, everybody. First on the agenda is Hirsch Stacy, 311 Drewville Road. Mike?
My first comment is the same as last time. Operating a kennel in the residential zone, they already got the use variance from the zoning board. Now they're trying to expand it slightly. Very important. How many crates? I wrote kennels. They actually don't use kennels. They use crates, so they crate each dog. What is the total number? Because they gave us ranges based on the size and temperament of dogs, but if you use the range and go to the high end of the total range, I come up with 40 dogs. Is that what you're trying to say would be the max?
Hi, please introduce yourself if you don't mind. Thanks.
Hi, yes, I'm Stacy Hirsch. I don't really have an exact number, and with the addition, what I'm looking to do is actually build spaces for the dogs. Right now, we just kind of have them in rooms, so it's sort of like doggy daycare where dogs can just hang out and play together. They're primarily friendly pets,
Okay.
and they get along. So as long as they get along in the room, then we can have between 5 to 10 dogs. So currently, we have 4 rooms of dogs, and with the new runs, we're not building runs, but they're like just individual spaces, so we can put them in there when they're not in the room playing together, so they can have some downtime. And then the room will just be opened up to one big space for a play area. So hard to give you an exact number.
Okay. If I add up the numbers that were in their ranges and go to the high side, it came to 40.
Yeah. So
I'm not saying that there'll be 40, but that's what I came up
That's not
with.
the general number. We'll have, like, we generally have between 5 to 15, I would say, and then maybe holidays, the numbers go up.
I think it'd probably help yourself, Stacy, if you gave us a high end,
So we can lock it in.
because
Got it.
worst case, so that, and you don't have to do the second, but
Okay.
the more dogs, the more waste, the more noise, the more everything, as you know better than I, right?
Well,
So-
yeah, that actually depends. I could have 3 dogs that make more noise than 50.
True, yeah.
So it really does depend.
I'm sorry, Mike, I interrupted you. Go
No, all
ahead.
good.
The waste, yes, I agree.
Then, when we talked about the waste, they said they actually clean up the solid waste and clean up the inside, but outside I don't want to say urine, but urine will go into the areas that the dogs are held. They'll clean up the solids, but it gets piped away. Where does that go once it's piped? When the kennels are cleaned or disinfected, do you have wastewater that goes along with that? Or not kennels, the runs, actually, I meant to say.
Well, the dogs don't go to the bathroom inside. They only go outside in the yard. So just like my own dogs would go out in the yard.
And lot depth and width lines are now on the plat, and variances are required for two-way aisle width, lot area, lot width. In addition, the parking calculation needs to include the dwelling. Dwelling unit requires 4 parking spots.
Okay.
So that has to be on, because you still live there, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to include those spots as well.
Okay.
So, but your argument is going to be, you live there and work there, so that would be a reason for not requiring 2 spots for Stacy. So,
Okay, well, outdoor spots, because I also have a garage too.
total spots, including the garage will be 2, if that's where you have a 2-car garage, and then you're going to have, but you need to do the calculation and add the 4 into it.
Okay, I thought I did, but I'll double check. I'll talk to you about that.
We'll talk, yep, that's fine.
Rich?
The applicant was requested to go to the, or refer to the Carmel Fire Department. They forwarded plans to the fire department. Otherwise, all engineering comments have been addressed.
Thank you. And Pat, I don't believe you had any comments?
No, Mr. Chairman, the issue is Mike articulated it. We have to address impacts associated with what they're proposing. So understanding the worst-case condition relates to issues like noise and solid waste disposal and all of that. So it is necessary to have a high end, just so we could frame the approval resolution appropriately.
Okay. Comments from the board?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Hi. I believe if I heard you correctly, 4 rooms, 5 to 10 dogs per room.
what we currently have now.
That's what you currently, and that's in a social environment. Will you also have individual kennels or runners for dogs that are not so socially adjusted?
Yes, so when the addition hopefully will be to put around the perimeter individual runs, so we can put the dogs in there.
Like a chain link type dividers?
It'll
or-
all be inside, so it's sort of like if you have a pet inside your own house. They would just have their own little space that they would go to with a bed and water to sleep and eat, basically. Otherwise, they're mostly out playing or out in the yard playing. And then, yes, we do have the occasional dog who doesn't get along with other dogs. So right now, we just kind of give them their own room. And we have a couple of kennels that are indoors, just like big cages, basically, that will put those dogs in there. So there's not many of those. I'll only take in maybe 2 at a time.
Okay.
How many dogs did you say you have there now?
As right this
Yeah.
moment, I have 6 dogs.
Okay.
That would be an average. We train dogs, so generally they come in for training. So we'll have between, I would say, 6 to 8 dogs for training purposes. So they're kind of like in training all day.
And they stay at your house?
They stay in the same area. And then if we have dogs that are coming in, if people travel, so for our training clients, dogs who we've already trained, those are the dogs we take in. So we don't just take in random dogs. We know them all.
Okay, I come to you and I want my dog trained.
Yes.
You take my dog for a week? You take my dog for 4 hours?
3 weeks.
Okay, that's what I mean. So
Yeah.
that would be part of the boarding, is what I'm,
Yep, so those
Asking,
would be
got
the
it.
training dogs, and then dogs who have already been trained with us, if their families are traveling, they might come for a day, or they might come for a couple weeks, depending on their plans.
When I read through the papers that you gave us, there was a comment about the waste, and it seems from reading it that the waste is collected and then put in a normal house refuse and then thrown out with the garbage, normal pickup.
Yeah, we bag it every day, and
All right.
same as I do with my own dogs.
So my only question for Pat, I guess, is that okay?
Is that considered a different type of waste?
Yeah, I mean, I just thrown it out.
I don't know the answer to that, right? We can look into that. I don't know if there's a poundage. When you get above 40 pounds of poop, it now gets collected differently. I don't know that answer.
I'm just,
I understand, and if there was another way, I would be really happy to hear what that would be.
Yeah, it's
I
not,
only
Ray, it
raise
can't be
because there's
composted.
been other applicants who have had farm animals, and I'm not saying it's the same thing.
Oh, yeah,
but
very
we've had
different.
conditions we had to deal with, and I was just throwing it out
Yeah,
there.
We
that's-
have a code requirement for stables.
Yeah.
We
Correct.
don't have a similar one for kennels, but it's a good question because I don't think it's a zoning issue. It may be a health department issue, so we can look into that.
Right, it's not that it can be composted, like a horse manure might be able to be composted, or others can be used as compost. Dog and cat cannot. It's just the way it is. If you look anywhere, you go to any doggy park, they always have bags and they put them in a garbage pail. So,
Oh, that's a good.
you know, I don't know the answer. You know, it might be something that needs to be researched, but I mean, the last time you went to a doggy park, you know, it's a bag, you throw it in the garbage.
That's a
So-
good point, Rich.
Just throwing it out there.
I have a question. Do you have to have different kind of insurance for the amount of dogs you have? Is that flexible, or is it just one policy?
They don't really, I do have insurance, separate business insurance that covers the dogs, but they don't really have any number requirements.
Good, okay, thank you.
One question. Can you speak to the sound attenuation, how you're going to do that? I did see it in the
Sorry, I
material.
didn't
Can
know. That's part.
Hi, is this on?
Yeah.
Is this on? Okay. Can you speak to the sound attenuation process? What are you going to do to deal with
As
that?
far as the barking?
Yeah.
Dogs. So currently, you know, we really keep the barking down to a minimum. Again, same as what I was saying before. I could have 2 dogs that bark a lot, and I can have 20 that are really quiet. And, you know, if I walk outside my house at any given time, I hear dogs barking somewhere. I don't know where they're coming from. Or it's pretty quiet, but they're pretty much indoors for playtime, and this will allow me a bigger indoor space too, so I can keep them inside for more playtime. When they go outside, we keep them in small groups, And again, they're social, they're just kind of running and playing. They're pretty quiet. I don't know that I've ever had a complaint of anybody. I know I only have a couple of neighbors, and they're pretty far off. One of them on top of the hill I happen to know, and she doesn't have any problems or has ever told me.
Okay, thank you.
And the new building, I'm hoping, once we put around the perimeter, I plan to soundproof all of those walls.
Correct. That's on the plan that they submitted.
So the issues right now or information we need is to clarify the parking. And then what do you say was the high end of the number of dogs? Meaning that if you say there's going to be X, and, you know, Mike's out there 2 years from now and there's X times 3, that might be a problem, right? That would be a problem. So that's why we'd like to be able to at least confine the numbers. Anything else?
Again, I think we'll look into the waste issue, Mike, thank you, just to see if there's a health department
Yeah,
issue,
yeah.
if it's, but we can get an answer to that.
I think we can move this forward if anyone wants to make a motion to move this off to the ZBA.
Do we have to work out the parking number?
Yeah, but that's,
I think,
I wouldn't object to, if you're okay with, once we
Yeah.
discuss the parking numbers, it's,
if we don't,
Yeah,
so,
straightforward.
you know, if there is a motion to take this to the ZBA, if you do not provide the numbers, then we'll just pull it.
Is that a denial to ZBA?
It would be a denial to the ZBA.
Correct.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to deny the applicant to the ZBA.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Just to be clear, so we need this, you'll need this, otherwise you're going to lose a lot of time.
We don't want to lose time.
All
yeah.
right,
I
so-
just won't refer you unless you get all the information, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to stamp
You
it?
need to
Glenn?
stamp them.
Yes,
It's going to change.
I need to stamp that. Paul?
Now, after you stamp it, you're okay with them just changing the parking, correct?
Validating the parking number of
That
spaces.
number may change on that.
And the high-end potential number of dogs.
That's fine. I just want to make sure you're okay
Yep.
with that.
And obviously, if it's not provided, then we don't proceed any further. Thank you. It's true. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Swee, David, and Deborah, 30 Hitchcock Hill Road. It's a two-lot subdivision. Mike, I believe you had some comments?
Yep, the zoning table is now correct. According to the engineer, there are no wetlands on the property. Lot depth and lot width lines are now provided. And I reviewed the building department files and assessor's records on the property, and there is no second dwelling unit on this lot.
Okay, that was a concern at the last meeting. Okay. Rich?
All engineering comments have been addressed. Just so the applicant knows, if they do build on the second lot or lot number 2, they will have to meet the criteria within the subdivision requirements of Part 131, Section 131 of the Town Code, if there is going to be a building. Right now, they're saying no, so all engineering comments have been addressed.
And Pat?
And all site planning issues, there were none really on this, have been addressed.
I think the big issue at the last meeting was the other house that we thought might have been on the property.
Rich's mother-in-law, that's right.
Yeah.
No, she's there. I thought there was another, it's a completely different tax back number. I was mistaken, so.
Questions?
See what happens when you throw your mother-in-law under the bus?
So Pat, what happens if 20 years from now this property is sold, since the second lot is subdividable?
It's the same thing, Mr. Chairman, so they'd come back to you and
Yep.
subdivide. So the applicants made it clear they were not doing anything other than the one single very large lot. They're entitled to do that, but if they want to further subdivide, they're tripped back to you.
Okay?
And the issue with that is this two-lot subdivision preventing the appropriate further subdivision of the bigger lot? For example, eliminating access or something like that. That's not the case. So they would just have to return to you.
Okay. Any questions from anybody on the board?
Next step on this, Mr. Chairman, is to move to a public hearing.
Yep. We need a motion for that.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for a public hearing.
Second.
Excuse me, can we ask to waive the public hearing since it's a large lot?
I think what we could do, Jack, is, I prefer not to waive the public hearing, especially in a residential area. That being said, currently it looks like there's not going to be a meeting in 2 weeks because there's a lack of agenda items. That would make the next meeting on July 8th. We could have the public hearing then. If that goes well, if there's not an outcry from neighbors, we could prepare the resolution at that meeting. So that would give you the same amount of time as if we didn't do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right, so this
Appreciate
way we'll
that.
combine it on the back end of July 8th, if there's not
I
a
understand.
lot of noise from there, okay? I think it's a good compromise. I think we can speed it along for you, but we also give the public a time to be heard.
We'll have the resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Jack, that work?
Thank you, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. We made the motion? Did we
Motion,
finish?
I'll remake the motion for a public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thank
See
you very much.
You're welcome. See you on July 8th. I believe Rose distributed meetings of May 26th. Has anyone had a chance to review them?
I did not.
That's,
No, you can, she can still walk through.
yeah? Okay.
I also read them, so I could offer the minutes from the meeting of May 28th, 2021.
May 26th.
I'm sorry, May 26th, correction.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.